Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people listen to every day? How do I make money with my podcast? And the answer to every one of those questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. You see, Anchor is easy to use whether you are starting out brand new into the podcasting arena, or if you are a seasoned professional, but you want to get your podcasting series into the right hands. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, making money doing it as well, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters that are already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Welcome to Success and Beauty Talk radio show, broadcasting live locally from beautiful Charleston, South Carolina, nationally, state to state, and internationally, country to country. Get your breakthrough news on beauty, business, and lifestyle right here weekly on Success and Beauty Talk radio show. And now, here's your host, #1 international best-selling author and award-winning beauty life coach, Charlotte Howard. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of Success and Beauty Talk radio show. We are super excited to have each and every one of you joining us via the web as well as the phone lines. Just to let you all know, if you are on the web line, make sure that you see the chat panel and you can type all of your questions that you have for our guests here tonight. And for those of you that are tuning in via the phone lines, again, as time permits, we will definitely open up the phone lines. I am absolutely excited to have my VIP guest, Miss Kim O'Neill, with us. She is a speaker. She is a trainer. She is an author. She is a radio host. She is such a powerful, powerful woman. So without further ado, let me see if I have Miss Kim O'Neill out here. Kim, are you out there?
I am, loud and clear, Charlotte.
Awesome. I'm so excited to have you here with us.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Absolutely.
Okay, good. Just making sure. Oh, I'm so excited to be here, Charlotte. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, thank you. I know, like in California, your weather is probably beautiful over there. We're getting a little bit of showers going on here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, actually, it's pretty nice over here right now.
I love California. When I come back, I definitely have to get in touch with you.
Definitely, yeah. You know, honestly, Charlotte, I do enjoy cooler weather and rain and all of that, but this is really nice too. It's right in that sweet spot where it's bright and sunny, a little bit of a breeze, a little bit of sun, and it's not too cold, it's not too hot, it's perfect.
Awesome. I love it. Kim, I know I've shared with everyone that's tuning in a little bit about you, but would you kind of share a bit of a backstory about where you're from, how'd you get to where you are right now?
Absolutely, yeah. So, oh my goodness, so much comes up whenever I get asked that question. Okay, so the backstory. The backstory is that I was once this super bubbly, happy, excitable kid that dealt with a lot of negative self-talk. And it was through my experiences of going through that and learning how to release that and move beyond that into a positive mindset that's all what brought me here today. And of course, there's so much more wrapped up in that. But it's interesting because for a long time, as entrepreneurs, we're supposed to know what is our story. What's your story, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're supposed to. So what's your story? How did you get to where you are? And the question I used to ask myself is, or what I used to say to myself is, I don't know, what is my story? I've got 50 million stories. How do you?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How do you choose just one? And it's been such an interesting, at times very frustrating journey. But the veil finally was lifted for me, and I'm so grateful. So, yeah, that's a big part of it, and why I do what I do today, because I really want to support people in being able to cultivate their own positive mindset and be able to know who they are, really be connected to that, the essence of that, so that they can be, their best shiny self in the world, whether that's also someone who's doing coaching or personal development type work. Maybe it's a teacher in an elementary school who's trying to serve her kids but struggling on her own with her own, just energy management and the negative thoughts that are creeping in and stealing the beautiful gifts that she has to give to her students. So that's in a nutshell, the backstory for me. But of course, there's so much more, to that. It's another part of what's really helped me going, because those times when I was struggling with a negative mindset, it wasn't just, oh, I'm struggling. It's I'm really struggling. And, I know that in the news there's been, we've had a couple of suicides go on that really rocked a lot of people, and I get it. And it's unfortunate to hear about, but the one thing I'm going to say is that hearing about those last week helped me actually connect back to why I do what I do, because that's the extent of where my negative mindset and my, not even mindset, it was just self-talk, just that you can get to the point where you actually think there's someone else in your head talking to you, and you become your worst bully. And learning how to say, wait a second, no, I'm going to be my number one cheerleader and not my, there's no bully that can be a bigger bully to me than myself. And so learning how to shift away from that, take control of that, start to love myself more, awareness and all of that, it's just, it's very helpful, because when you have a lot of negative self-talk going on, it can lead to the pathway of suicidal thoughts and that kind of thing. And that was part of my journey. And I'm grateful to have been able to shift away from that and support others. In coaching, it's not so much about that, right? Like, that's where you get to the point of therapy, but you can still be essentially healthy, but struggling with negative self-talk. So that's where I'm able to really serve people, especially people who are coming from that heart-centered place of really wanting to support others. And it can be challenging when we're doing our best to support others, and yet we've got our own stuff going on inside. That right there, that can just create a whole, just a whole disastrous cocktail for frustration and thinking you're not good enough. And you absolutely are. And that's just part of the journey of moving forward.
Absolutely. So, Kim, I know that you mentioned that you've been, going through different struggles, and I think at some point, in life we've all, we have to deal with different things that, like you mentioned, different curveballs and things that come our way. What would you say, how important it is for people to surround themselves with others to support them during the different challenges and struggles that they're going through?
I think it's imperative. I think it's critical. I think it's absolutely important. And let me just reiterate that those struggles, that those for me, those are struggles of the past. So those are not existing struggles today.
But, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear. I had someone recently reach out to me, and they thought some stuff that I was sharing was current, and I was like, no. This is
no.
Yeah, just to be clear on that. But absolutely, a support network, a supportive tribe, is, I think it's a foundation. It's foundational to being able to move forward. The other thing is that when you start to find that you're in a position where your existing, say, friends, family, network aren't able to be supportive, that can be really frustrating and disheartening, but that doesn't mean that you can't connect with new people to be that supportive tribe for. And I think that that's something that can almost kind of add fuel to the fire and make things worse when you realize you're in a position where you do need support, and then you realize, wait a second, what? The existing people in my life can't give that to me? What's going on here? And I think that those are just moments of, we're moving into new phases of our life. And it doesn't mean that those people aren't going to be able to be there for you in the future, but we grow through what we go through.
Yes.
And so to not think that all hope is lost just because you realize you need to find a new supportive group of people to be around. That's really what I want to get at, is it's just moving into a new space and allowing yourself to be open to it, and also be easy on yourself and not think that you are so alone just because the existing people aren't able to be as supportive, if that's the case.
Absolutely. I love your mission, empowering you to be who you always knew you were, inspiration from the heart. That is absolutely amazing. And I see all of, you have like an extensive background at the same time. What inspired you to just kind of dive into starting your own coaching business?
Well, it's, ever since this goes back to the root of my story, even at the time when I was struggling with negative self-talk as a teenager, I remember also feeling very purpose-driven, feeling a sense of purpose and not having total clarity about that, but knowing that it had something to do with wanting others. And so that's ultimately like where, the journey began back then, and it's evolved over time. There was a time when I thought I was going to be a psychologist, then marriage family therapist, then mental health counselor, and eventually I came to coaching, and I'm so grateful. I absolutely love coaching because it's all about moving forward. It's all about embracing wellness, and I feel like there's even room for more creativity with coaching than there is with therapy. And that's not to downplay therapy at all, but that's just my personal,
Yes.
That's what I love about coaching. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. I agree with you. And because you're certified both as an ICF and Law of Attraction coach, can you share a little bit more about a little more deeper about the two differences and how it all works together, so that everyone that's listening in could understand what you could actually help them with?
Absolutely. So, yes. So when I wasn't going to, become a mental health therapist and get a master's degree and do all of that, because that's where my head was focused on, right? I wanted to have something that, you have an audience that is aware of this, so I'm just going to acknowledge this. So coaching is a growing industry, and for quite a while there was kind of this stigma around it as not being as credible. And so my head was like, no, I want to, I want to have a credible career. I want to, I was coming from that place, very much a head space. And finally I had realized, wait a second, okay, let's let go of this, this stigma. Whatever people are thinking or not thinking or whatever. It's a growing industry. It's so many people are benefiting from it. It has, even though it's a growing industry, it's also been around for decades. And this is the direction that I kept being pulled towards. And so I finally had to to some degree, just step into a sense of, faith and say, look, there's something here, and I'm going to go with this. So I had been attempting to do a master's program and move in that direction, and maybe one day I will pursue that again at somewhere down the line. But finally I had to say, wait a second, okay, coaching's the thing. So I first then, because I was making that transition, right, of steering away from a master's degree to now more of a certificate type education, I was searching and searching and searching, and I finally found a program I loved that was evidence-based coaching, and through a graduate university. So that's what I started with. But little did I know that midway through that program, I came across another program that was it was law of attraction based and completely, I want to say, opposite. It definitely still incorporated the foundational ethics that, are part of the ICF, and it had that core, the basis of what the ICF, emphasizes. And so it had that within it, but it really was coming from a very different perspective. So it wasn't from a head space, it was more of a heart space and an energetic space and spiritual, metaphysical space. And I've always loved stuff like that, and never really taken a lot of time to learn about it, though. And I couldn't believe it when here I was in the middle of one program, and all of a sudden found myself feeling so pulled to take this law of attraction coaching program. I was like, are you kidding? And it was so intense. So this wasn't just like, oh, maybe I'll take another program. Like, I was literally having this moment of, oh my gosh, I have to do this, and am I really doing this? And noticing that when I looked at my bank account, I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually have the exact amount that I need to be able to even pay it in full, which was a very rare thing at the time, and really just in that space of knowing that this is totally a synchronistic moment. And anyway, so yeah, long story short, I ended up taking that second program while I was still in the first program, and then that's just when all the law of attraction, energy, heart-centeredness. I ended up moving on to becoming a certified Reiki Master Practitioner, and just moving in that direction. And then, you think that you take, sorry, you think that you take a program and you think, okay, great, now you're good to go. And certainly you are equipped, you know so much, and yet that's not the end of the journey. I just smacked my phone. I'm so sorry. I hope you didn't hear that.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Okay, I get enthusiastic when I speak. So,
Me too. So you go ahead with it.
Okay, good. So, it's so interesting because you think, you've graduated from a program and you think that that's going to be the end of it, and lo and behold, it's the start of another beginning. And so that's when, so much more of my personal journey with finding the balance between head and heart. And, is it okay for me to be an ICF certified coach that also then talks about spirituality and, and your heart and meditation and those kinds of things? I mean, that was like a real thing I had to come to grips with in myself and say, how does this make sense? How is this okay? And ultimately coming back to, how am I able to best serve my clients? If I am a person in the world who this is benefiting, well, then there's got to be more of me.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So that's where a lot of it came back down to. And so just knowing that it's absolutely okay for me to be able to serve as a coach, but also as a mentor. And the more I became comfortable with that, then the more at ease I became, within sessions and just within, marketing my services and connecting with other people. And so it's continued to be this journey that I've been on, but it's been very rewarding finding that level of peace within me, knowing that, yes, this is where I'm meant to be and how I'm best able to serve my clients with the combination of these two worlds that I bring together.
Absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you.
It's great because I can feel your passion through the phone, and it's like I see how it's like you transition from, different, because even your background is like totally different. Can you share how the transition, like from
where you were back then to like how it is like now with you coaching, because there are a lot of women, even men, that are going to be listening into the replay, who right now they're on this 9 to 5, and they may want to figure out, how can I move forward with making that transition from employee to entrepreneur?
Yeah, you mentioned my professional background. My professional background is pretty diverse. That's because I've always had so many interests in different careers. And the one that tends to catch people off guard most is, prior to coaching, the most recent other job I had was working as a crime analyst in a police department. And
wow.
So I know, right? I know. So it tends to throw people off. They're like, wait, what? And and that speaks to another part of me that's very strategic and loves to do research and put puzzle pieces together. I mean, that's kind of, in a nutshell, what we were essentially doing.
Yes.
But it's absolutely, when we talk about bridging head and heart, that was a huge experience I had working as a crime analyst while I was also coaching part-time on the side, and really feeling that I had split energy. Because when I was at the police department, it was very much in a headspace, and, focusing on the work that I'm doing and go, and just stay focused in this mode, in this zone. And yet when I wasn't there, it was about, okay, now how am I feeling right now? What is my intuition telling me? And which direction do I go next? And feeling like I had to be two different people, and learning how to know, don't be two different people. How can I combine the two, bring them together, and be one whole person that does all of this, that is all of this? And it was a very personal, I mean, I know you can hear me laughing now. It was a very frustrating journey at the time, though, and
yes.
Something I really had to, learn how to find ease with. And it was a very rewarding journey, and I'm so grateful for it.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just amazed because I like to watch crime shows and try to guess different things myself. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, awesome.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think the biggest thing, if there's anyone who's really, said they're in that space of feeling like they have split energy and they're two different people, one person here, another person there, I really think the biggest thing, and I tend to talk about this a lot, but let me just mention it here, is really becoming aware of what are you feeling. And that's literally can just be as simple as just pause, take a moment, and ask yourself, what are you feeling right now, and where do you feel that in your body? And if you're noticing that you're feeling some tension, and maybe that's because you are frustrated because you're trying to do so many different things and your energy is in different directions, then just go to that place in your body and just, take some deep breaths. Try to see what the energy looks like in your mind's eye. You can't get it wrong. So just whatever shows up. And then just envision that energy calming down and releasing that tension and dispersing. And I even, I take it a step further, bring love in and just send love to that part of your body. And it can just help you start to find a sense of calm, but then also a sense of balance and peace with where you are right now. And the reason why we do that is so that you're not continuing to operate from this space of tension, because that tension is then going to show up in other areas of your life. It's going to show up in the next conversation you have with a coworker. It's going to show up in the next email you write to somebody. Maybe it shows up in, the conversations you have at home with your family or whoever you interact with after work. And so the more each of us can be centered and grounded and coming from a space of being in our own flow, then other things are going to flow as a result of that. So when we can be that first, then everything else, emanates from that space. So just want to say that for anybody who is feeling that tension of maybe wanting to leave your day job and go do your own thing or whatever's going on, that can be a really helpful practice.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kim, because it can be really challenging, you know, because I get feedback from everybody out in the field how they want to transition from, you know, being an employee and how frustrated they get. And so I just thought that it would be great to hear your insights and advice on it tonight, to give them some inspiration and guidance at the same time as well.
I'm really big on listening to your intuition, and that could be such a, I know a lot of people struggle with, well, what's my intuition? You know, is this my fear talking? Is this my intuition talking? Is that wishful thinking? You know, what is that? I think it's a personal journey for every person. So I think it's something that takes practice, and as well as paying attention to the signs. So for me, I knew that I was nearing the time to make that transition, and I wasn't quite sure when it was going to be, and I had so much anxiety and fear about it. I could, just imagine what other people in my life would have to say and comment about it, and how they probably wouldn't be in support of that. But I also knew that what I was feeling inside me was, Kim, it's time to go do this work that you're so passionate about. It's time to spend more of my energy doing that. I was already doing it, but I wanted to do so much more. And it was a challenge when you're constantly spending 40 plus hours, doing something else. That isn't where you feel, where you can come from a place of purpose, really, to that's where you're exhausting more energy. So that's why they say do what you love, right? Because then you're never working a day in your life when you're doing what you love, that kind of thing. So where was I? So back to listening to my intuition, paying attention to the signs, and the word faith was coming up big time for me. And I kept asking, I kept praying, I kept meditating, I kept doing all those things, and faith kept coming up. And finally, I realized, okay, I had been so willing. I said, okay, look, I'll do whatever I'm supposed to do. But the one thing I don't want to do is a leap of faith. That's the one thing I said I don't want to do. And I felt like I was putting all these other things in place, sure, I'm saving up money over here. And I'm gonna set the intention out there by, I'm gonna draft, a letter of resignation, but I'm not gonna send it yet because I'm not quite ready, but let me at least put it out there. And so I did that. And then, I'm visualizing as well, and I'm scripting. So that's where, law of attraction is kind of infused in all of what I'm talking about right now. So I was scripting, this is what it's going to look like, and this is how it is, and blah, blah, blah. This, my new life as an entrepreneur. And so I was doing all these things. But the one thing I hadn't done yet was actually doing it. and it's like, as much as I had prepared, it just still was really, really scary. And finally I realized that was where I was at. Okay, I've put this energy out there for so long now, and the next step is me just actually taking action on it. And I realized, okay, I get it. Like, yes, this is something new. This is something scary. At the same time, fear, right? False events appearing, false evidence appearing real, or there's different ways to use that acronym. I realized, okay, wait a second, Kim, you're making this bigger than it has, than it needs to be. Other people have done this before. And this wasn't me just flying willy-nilly. I'd been spending a lot of time thinking about this, planning and preparing. And I have always known that I'm, that the direction I was moving in is the direction that I was meant to be. So it's like, this isn't just something, out of thin air that I've decided I'm going to do. I've been moving in this direction my whole life. And ultimately, this is not going to be anyone else's decision but mine. And I finally realized, okay, that's what it's come down to. It's come down to making that decision and taking action on it. And so I'm a big fan of trees, and I use trees as a metaphor in meditations and all that kind of stuff. And so you may have also heard the phrase about, if you're not happy where you are, you're not a tree. You can move. And that was coming to mind so strongly at that point. And I just remember one day, because there had been I was very grateful for that job. That job was wonderful. But again, this was about me and purpose. So when I realized, Kim, week after week, you've been getting so frustrated, and this is just coming down to you. I finally realized I've got to make a decision. Is it you in or are you going? And I finally, as soon as I decided, yes, I'm doing this, instantly, and I'm not exaggerating, instantly, I felt more freedom. I felt the excitement. And so that was just the second that I decided. Not, am I going to continue to be in a space of like, okay, well, I'm 95% there. No. Is it yes or is it no? And once I decided, that's when I felt, oh my goodness, exciting. So then, of course, came giving the notice, and then, waiting out the time period that I was still there before I left. And it did just continue to get better. And I really had to do it my way. So I didn't tell everybody right away, exactly, what I was doing. So, of course, I gave my notice, and then people are going to ask, where are you going next? Oh, you're taking that other job over so-and-so. And I was like, okay, you can think what you want.
Yes.
But so I guess I would say for anybody else in a similar situation, you need to be following, your North Star. And so whatever that is for you, I don't want to tell someone, well, just do it. Just take a leap, just take a leap of faith without doing whatever you're planning, is necessary for you. But you may find that it's going to ultimately come down to just, do it or don't. And yes, it's going to be scary, and just know that, yep, that's part of it. And it gets better.
Absolutely. Kim, how did that make you feel when you were able to do that?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It was just, giving the actual letter of resignation, there was a little bit of anxiety there, but again, once I made that decision, I then continued to solidify that feeling within me of, yes, yes, this is yes, this feels so good. This is the right decision. And I took my visualization then, the next step further, like, okay, what does this look like, and how am I going to respond when this happens? And being mindful of grounding my energy so that I can have these conversations when people are going to give me looks and, question, what? I even had a few people say, no, you're not. You're joking, right? No, yes, I'm really leaving. So it was there was a little bit of anxiety in there, but I just continued to stay focused on where I was headed and knowing that I absolutely was doing the right thing for me, and just, it was exciting.
Yes, I could imagine. I mean, like I said, I can tell, like, you were like, oh my gosh, like, am I really doing this?
Yeah, exactly. And I gave 3 weeks notice. And so for that 3-week period, I didn't tell anybody. It was really, it was a very personal experience. And, people knew that I was leaving, but I didn't tell them, what I was doing next. I waited until the time was right for me to tell anybody. And that was a promise I made to myself. So I definitely encourage that. If you know that you have people in your life who are not going to support your decision, not going to get it, and who, if even just the slightest bit of them not being supportive in any comments they might make to you, then commit to yourself in advance, what is going to be most supportive to you, telling them at all, or, just keep it to yourself until you know that you're going to be okay regardless of the reaction they give you.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kim. I'm going to go to questions. I see from Tammy, she has a question for you. She said, you mentioned meditation. How does this work?
Oh, meditation. Goodness, meditation is amazing. So my personal journey of meditation has gone from about a decade ago when I didn't like it. And I didn't think it worked at all, and to eventually coming to a place where I started with guided meditation. I think that a lot of people, if you haven't been doing meditation, then it seems really challenging to be able to find, a space of calm and quiet inside your head. So to me, I think it's best to start with guided meditations, because when you've got someone else's voice helping to direct you, you can feel like you're being more successful at doing it. But with that said, you can't really, here's my take, you can't really do it wrong. It's just about your commitment to doing it and allowing yourself to be on that journey. Because as long as you continue to do meditation, and I know the question was, how does that work? But let me just say, as long as you continue to stay on that journey of doing meditation, you will reap the benefits as you go. So how does it work? Well, it works a variety of ways, but ultimately it's about finding, to me, it's a space of calm. It's a calm within your head, and it's allowing your energy to raise by quieting your mind. That's going to be my definition right now. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Charlotte?
Yes. Tammy, I want to recommend that you do it on a daily basis because, I mean, it's like I just feel so much better. I'm having a whole lot more clarity when I do my meditations. I do it in the morning and I do it at night before I go to bed. And it's like I'm more clear on what I need to do, and more. I just feel more relief. I mean, you got to experience it.
Yeah, I agree. So now I'm to the point, and I never thought I would get to here, but now I'm to the point where I really just prefer silence or some gentle music in the background. And sometimes literally, okay, so I used to not get this, but here's, Tammy, if you're looking for an easy way to start, you may enjoy this. Just spend 10 minutes just with slow, deep breathing. I'll be honest, there was a long time ago I used to think that didn't make any sense to me, so I hope that it makes sense to you. But I'm now in the space where I'm just amazed at how good it feels to just spend a few minutes taking slow, deep breaths. It is so rejuvenating and yet so calming and so centering, and that alone can just do wonders for my day.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Kim. Tammy, let us know in the comments if you have any more questions. Kim, I do have a comment from Mary. She said she loves your energy.
Oh, thank you, Mary. I appreciate that comment.
Awesome. Well, Kim, I know that you have your show as well. Can you share a little bit more about your show with everyone that's listening in as well?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. Yes. So I host a show called Every Day is a New Day. It's an inspirational interview show about moving forward and choosing to embrace a positive outlook. And I'm really glad you asked me about it, actually, because I am in the process right now of shifting from one network to another. And so I'm really excited because I am going to be on Binge TV networks. And so if you go there right now, you actually, like right now, you won't see my show there. But by the end of this week, fingers crossed, you will. And Binge actually shows up on TVs, so smart TVs. If you have Roku, you can go into Roku and search for Binge, Binge, and you will eventually be able to see my show there. So I'm really excited about that. I've been doing Facebook Live interviews, and so if someone wants to join the live show and be able to interact with me and my guests live, they can go to Facebook at Kim O'Neill Coaching. That's how they can find it. But the actual title is Kim O'Neill Coaching, and Every Day is a New Day. And that's where the live shows show up, but then the replays will be on Binge and also on YouTube. So
Awesome. Congratulations, because we're transitioning and expanding more as well. And I just love connecting with like-minded people like you who are just really helping people create the lifestyle that they absolutely want, and they get to be themselves at the same time as well. So I look forward to more updates on that so I can share with everyone as well. Kim, and would you please also share more about your book as well?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Do you mind if I just add a comment to what you just said, though?
No, I don't mind. Go ahead.
Okay. So I know I ask for permission sometimes. Don't do that. Don't ask for permission, especially when you're
ahead.
Okay. I just want to say that is the key. That is the key to moving forward. It is being yourself. I think it's so easy to get caught up in thinking that you need to be perfect, that you need to do things the way someone else does them. And in no way do I want to say we can't learn from others and that there isn't room for improvement. I think it's this balance of being connected to who we are and believing in that, like really believing that the true essence of who we are, that is what helps us be more successful and be able to move forward and experience more joy. And finding the balance with that, and then all the things we want to do to, improve our business, improve our personal life, all of that, but knowing that what's really going to fuel how all those other things work out is having that connection to yourself and whatever that means for you. But for me, it's my higher self and knowing that I am more than just this physical body and believing in the power of that. So I guess I just wanted to add that in there because I think that that's so key, and each person needs to know how amazing their unique self is. That's what I want people to know. So
absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that because it is absolutely important.
It really is, yeah. So you asked about the book, and thank you so much. So the book is called, it's an anthology book. So I have one chapter in this book. There are 9 chapters total. It's called Positive-Minded People, Inspiring Stories of Overcoming Adversity for Living a More Positive Life. And you can go to Amazon and find it there. Just type in Positive-Minded People. But my story is called Intuition, Can You Hear Me Now? And
ooh, I love that.
Thank you. There's a lot wrapped up into the chapter, but I'll just emphasize that you might think that if you're going to read a book called Positive-Minded People, that you're going to read about a bunch of stories that are, we're all positive and up in the air. It's the negativity that teaches you positivity. And so it's just like we learn how to trust from people who do things that kind of break our trust. And then we have to learn how to trust again, right? Or we learn how to forgive from people who have done things to us that hurt us. It's kind of the contrast there. So my story and a lot of the other stories are, about these challenging times in life. And for me, the story that I put in there had to do with a very devastating friendship breakup that I went through about a decade ago, and how the root of that and why that was so devastating, though, had a lot more to do with having an absent father, and just the whole journey that took me on. And so there's a lot in that story, and I just want to end with, whenever I say, whenever I mention that, having an absent father and how challenging that was, he's since passed on. And for me, it was so important for me to heal that relationship with my dad. So I just, I guess I'm saying this for myself right now, but I just want to say that since he passed on, I feel that we've since been able to heal that relationship and that connection, but it doesn't discount that, that experience was still part of my journey. And I think it's important for people to know that you can move beyond those things and heal from having an absent parent or a broken relationship, and ultimately knowing that all those awful, trying times, that they are in service to our growth. And I know it's hard to see that in the moment, but when we can look back and reflect and see how, all the lessons, all those challenging times taught us, that's what helps make us. And so does it serve us to continue to be resentful and hang on to the anger and the sadness and all of that from those trying times? Ultimately it doesn't. It just continues to get in the way. So the more that we can forgive and release, that's going to support us in continuing to step into our power and know that it served us, and to find it, to the degree that we can, be grateful that it served us.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Kim, because there's, so many people that they hold on to, it's like they can't get past that. They get stuck.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful that you're sharing this with us here today. I'm going to check in for questions, but while I'm checking in for questions, I would love to have you share any upcoming projects as well as your website and your contact information for everyone to be able to reach out to you.
Oh, thank you, Charlotte. Yes, so people can find me online at KimO'NeillCoaching.com, and O'Neill is Oneill, so like the surfboard brand, Oneill. And then, of course, they can find me on Facebook at Kim O'Neill Coaching. They can find me on Twitter at Kim's on a Mission, because I just feel like I'm on a life mission.
I love that.
Thank you. But what's next for me? Yes. Okay, so what's next for me, of course, is the show is moving over to Binge. I'm super excited about that. I am also in the process of increasing my one-on-one client base. So, I love being able to work with people and really get deep into our things. I love doing group workshops, and I've got some of that stuff going on too, but right now really working on increasing my one-on-one client base. So if there's someone who said, you're ready to take it beyond group workshops and just getting a little bit of help here and there, then my sessions tend to go up to 90 minutes, and it's just, they're very impactful, very, people are able to really gain a lot out of that and really move into a more confident, courageous version of themselves, release those limiting beliefs, the negative self-talk, increase the positive self-talk. So that's something that I am actively working on. But also, I'm actually being brought into someone else's coach training program that I will just acknowledge in case it resonates with anybody else here. So a coach colleague friend of mine, her name is Susan Bradley Bortfield, and she has a program called Partners at Play that actually is sort of a mastermind program for heart-centered coaches and healers who want to stand out and shine. And I'm coming in as a confidence coach and going to be working with everyone who's in that program and really supporting them in that. So if someone's looking for a group program to support them and would like to also still work with me, I will be in that program. So that may be something they want to look into. She's going to be starting up here somewhere in the next, month or so. So they can just go onto Facebook and search Partners at Play and find out more about that.
Awesome, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I found someone who's busier than I am.
I know. Oh, gosh. You know what? We wear a lot of hats and we have a lot of passions, and it's important to try and find a balance and go, wait a second, okay, where, is it in my best interest to put my energy this direction, that direction? What do I need to cut out? What do I need to bring more in? So it's a balance.
Absolutely. Well, I've just opened up the phone lines for anyone that has any questions for Miss Kim O'Neill. Go ahead with your questions. For those of you that will be listening into the replay, I'm going to have Kim give her contact information again for us. Kim, can you go ahead with your contact information?
Yes, so they can email me at KimO'Neill@outlook.com. And again, they can go to my website, KimO'NeillCoaching.com, and contact me through there and schedule a free coaching consultation, find out more about the show. So, those are the best ways.
Absolutely. Well, we have to definitely give you a big hand clap there for all the value that you shared on today's show. I really, really appreciate it. We all appreciate it. And I look forward to having you come back on in the future, as well as when you get some free time, maybe we can do some additional collaborations as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Charlotte. I've had a great time being on your show, and I love what you're doing. So, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this.
Oh, I'm absolutely honored to have you, and everyone that's tuning in. Again, you have all of Kim's information. Definitely reach out to her. You can feel her passion. You can sense that she is real and genuine. Make sure that you reach out to her. Today's replay, of course, will be available shortly. And we will also be sending this out to everyone that's on our email list as well. And we hope that each and every one of you will reshare today's show with those that you know who will definitely benefit from all that Kim has shared here today. So we appreciate each and every one of you, and we will see you back here very, very soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in with us live on Success and Beauty Talk Radio Show. Remember, as a live audience participant, you will receive free gifts. Visit www.successandbeautyradio.com. Again, that's www.successandbeautyradio.com to get your free gift today. See you next week, Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Have an amazing week, everyone.